everyone, welcome back. Today let's talk about 3 concerns with these emails that just came out in the Lori Vallow Daybell trial from the movie, also Sins of Our Mother, which most of you probably already know. And I also appreciate you giving me grace with the recovery from my speech issues and the stroke. And if you're new here, that may help you understand why I totally lose a train of thought. But I do see some improvement, so I'm going to keep after it, hopefully. See if I can muster up that courage. Okay, the 3 concerns that we have. These text messages are huge. Just when we think it couldn't get wilder in this trial, these will be Lori's demise. However, I think if the jury went out at this moment, they would still convict her. But this will make sure that it's beyond a reasonable doubt. So, earlier on, a couple of weeks back, it was revealed that there were text messages at key times when people were murdered. Charles Vallow. There were a few text messages, but more importantly, with Tammy Daybell's death. Many text messages from Lori, Chad, Alex, her brother, and they were able to, at court, they were able to say with evidence that these text messages were sent. But because they were using burner phones, they were not able to find out exactly what the text messages were. So at that time, I felt like we may not get to see the inside of these text messages. But the good news is, the third point, I guess, and I'll come back to the second, is that there are thousands of text messages that the FBI was able to retrieve from Lori Vallow Daybell's iCloud account. Now from Chad's, which will be another trial, his originating, additional messages, because he has so many with Lori and so many with Alex, but they're accessed through Lori's iCloud account. Chad turned off his location services on his, and he did not log into that account. Lori was doing some business, I guess we could say business, of scamming the government, and went online to access some things. So she signed in with burner accounts. That's the key to how we retrieve those. Okay, the next concern is, because there's a huge volume of over 1,000 of these text messages, and the agent that was assigned to this task took the time to rank those in order and say the first one might be like, here's an example. I don't know exactly what he used. Proof of money exchange. And then he organized it like as an overview to kind of tell the jury how these categories break down. But as you probably know, the judge did not allow it. The defense raised the concern that it was argumentative to present it in that fashion rather than present the facts. So the prosecution is scrambling and beginning to, Thursday night, they probably had an all-nighter. Thursday night, they began to scramble to see how they were able to enter these text messages in, because they are extremely important, coming from Lori, finding out, and coming from Chad and Alex, and to see, what is their true communication rather than all of these different lies that we have on so many reports. So, Friday morning, they only had court yesterday from like 8:30 to 12:30-ish, a half day of court. And the prosecution was able to slot in at that time a few of the very damning text messages that reveal what a cold heart was Lori was saying to Charles's adult sons about the death of their father. And when you see the words like toward the end of the text, I love you boys, and so did your father. We know when you look at what people say and then their behavior of what they're doing, when those things match up and align, then that points to the truth. When you have discrepancies that what they're saying is not relating to what they're doing, then the behavior is always the truth. So just in that text message, we can see that the sons replied several times, and it got to a point, Lori, they were saying, you are not this busy. Let us know what happened, where the funeral will be, where Dad's body is. I mean, those are questions that she dodged telephone calls. The next day she responded with very limited explanation. So both sons came back. What happened? And then after a few hours of no response, Lori, you have to tell us what happened. We deserve to know. So we're into what might be the most damning and sealing of her fate, to see where this looks like it's getting, I'm distracted. That is part of my speech concerns of getting distracted. I think yesterday Roxy, my cat, walked in. Some people asked for my bird to be part of the video again. And I realize I'm not to that level yet that I can stay on track and be concerned with Aki as well. She loves attention. And she, when she gets confused with a lot of speech, she begins this nervous chatter. So, working through that. I've been training Aki a couple of years now. She's 6. I think she's 6 or 7 years old. And so it's an amazing learning process. We're just not to that point yet. So I'm going to try to find that thought. Oh, I think I was going to say that these texts are so damning. I feel like it removes that challenge with the jury and deliberations to see if these charges are beyond like a reasonable doubt. I believe this hits that reasonable doubt hard. So I think the prosecution will probably wrap up after these things come out, and some highlights of the thousands of text messages on Monday. I'm at this point, I kind of doubt that the defense is going to put on much of a case. I believe they listed, of course, this was under seal, so I'm not sure if we do know their witness list at this point, but maybe it's just speculation that they have 4 or 5 people that may be on the witness stand in the defense. And the jury's still out. Hey, that relates to the trial. The jury is still out on if Lori will testify. With her personality and feeling like she can manipulate, and I still think there's a chance that she could be pushing her attorneys to allow her to testify. And hopefully through this trial, she's beginning to see that the facts are there, and being grilled by the prosecution would be the most damning thing, other than we've had so many damning things, but seeing her live respond to questions on the stand. So Monday, let's pick back up and find out what kinds of text that they're highlighting, and kind of talk about those just a little bit. I hope you have a good weekend.